Alright. Damn, there's a lot of spider web in here. Walking through endless spider webs. Holy shit, god damn it. Sorry, spiders. Damn, that was a big one. Fuck, these spider webs are everywhere. Holy shit. Oh, okay. James, I think I accidentally muted myself. Can you hear me now? Shit, I wonder how much of what I was saying. Okay. When you first came on, was there audio and then it just disappeared? Because I don't know how long. I didn't notice that. My thumb, I did move my thumb. I might have just accidentally muted it for. I hope the whole stream wasn't muted. Fuck, that would be bad. Okay. Are you James, are you able to like scroll your finger? Are you able to rewind the stream and see if there's audio? Because if there isn't, then I will just kind of repeat what I've been saying. I'm happy to repeat. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm happy to repeat what I've been saying if nobody could hear it. And James, again, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Appreciate everybody joining. Especially since I was muted, didn't even know it. It happens, I guess. It is what it is, right? But appreciate everybody joining. Yeah, it certainly helps people can hear what the fuck I'm saying. I'm just gonna wait and see what James says here. But if anybody else has any questions or anything in the meantime, before I have to figure out if I need to repeat what I've been saying. But what I was saying when I was muted there was I was talking about this idea this idea of no. Oh shit. Thanks, James. Appreciate it, man. Well, fuck it. I guess I'll just repeat what I was saying. I guess I'll give the synopsis. The synopsis was um well, like yeah, no, it's all good, man. It happens, James. I must have, and maybe it's because I had my Bluetooth on. I don't know. I may have accidentally just touched the mute, but I appreciate it, man. But no, I was walking with Goose and I was explaining that I don't use treats or toys or what anyone would perceive or deem to be a reward to motivate dogs or try to work through behavioral issue or train dogs. Because first I make the distinction, and people call it semantics, but to me it's an important distinction, right? Training is skill based. You look up the definitions of these words. It's specific to a skill. Like if you go get a job and they train you on how to do the job, they're training you on the skills of the job. But you being proficient in the skills has nothing to do with your perception of the job, your boss, your employee, or your coworkers, whatever. Those things are socially related. So you may be very, very good at your job, but you may have there may be friction between you and your boss. Maybe you don't really respect your boss that much. Maybe your boss is a poor leader. A lot of managers and people in positions of authority are. So, but you being trained on the job and having the skills to do the job well has nothing to do with those other socially related things. So it's the same with your dog, right? I'm not going to approach a behavioral problem which is social in nature. It has to do with the relationship dynamic between dog and human, usually dog and owner. Why would I apply training concepts, something rooted in skills to a social problem? Doesn't make sense to me. So if I already have a dog who's demanding, who it may be aggressive or doesn't respect the owner, why would I attempt to now bribe that dog with a piece of food to get it to do something? Right? You're starting in the wrong place, and your perspective is flawed. Because I've had many people that call me for help, and they'll say, well, we did these Petco classes, or we did these PetSmart classes, and I always ask them, well, do you feel like it was effective? Do you think you got anything out of it? Did it help? And they always say no. I think I met maybe one person that said, like, yeah, I think maybe it helped, but it still wasn't really like a resounding, like, oh, I'd recommend it. But I always hear the same too. Is like they did that when the dog was younger, and now the dog's a teenager, and they say, well, the dog is just out of control now. The dog's a teenager. But I always hear the same thing too, where the dog will say, well, we train the dog with treats, and the dog listens when I have a treat, but well, then I always ask, well, okay, does the dog not listen when you don't have a treat? And they always say yes. I said, well, there's your answer right there. If the dog will listen for you with the expectation of getting a piece of food, it's performing for you to get what it wants, but it doesn't listen when you don't have that. Hey, Triggered, how are you? Appreciate you joining. Did you say hi earlier? I didn't see it till now. Appreciate you joining. But if the dog doesn't do what it is you're asking them to do, or to not do without the food, then that reveals the true nature of the relationship you have with that dog. That tells you the reality of how that dog sees you. So if I'm working through that issue, I don't want anything in the way but me and this is now a social interaction that has to take place. I don't want to put anything in between that. But this is also how people can get things to look good on social media, because they usually have a treat pouch and they're waving the dog will do whatever you want to get the food. It doesn't mean anything. And I had commented, it's amazing to me, like the Zach George people, I had commented on a Zach George post yesterday, and he was trying to show people, oh, this is how you get a dog to stay. And of course, he's using treats to do it. And I said, all right, cool, now do it without treats or tools. And that's all I said. And it's amazing to me the amount of fucking hate from the Zach George people. Absolutely, yeah. Structure and boundaries. The quickest way to calm a dog down is you need to implement boundaries and structure. It's usually what's leading to the anxiety is there's the lack thereof. There's no clear understanding on the dog's part of where those lines are. And that, it leads to issues. But it's amazing how many people, especially in the Zach George crowd, they're all positive with dogs, but they're so vile with humans. It's incredible. But these people couldn't wrap their head around the idea that, or they couldn't understand a world where you don't use treats to get a response from a dog, or to train the dog to do something. I've never needed a treat to teach a dog to stay. I don't. There are simple ways to do this. But then, of course, I guess the question I always ask after that is, well, what is the purpose of the stay? Why do you need the dog to stay? What's the reasoning behind it? Because I've never taught any of my dogs to stay. Right? Just the communication you give them. Once you've reached that level within the relationship dynamic, you tell them to stay, they're just going to do it out of respect for you. So I always say the obedience comes with, like, you don't need to train obedience. True obedience comes from a high level of respect between from the dog's eyes to you. Well, see, I don't even use the word correction much. It's more, I like to apply consequences. But in most cases, like if I establish a boundary, right? And it's a good question, Triggered. It depends on the context. Like there are different ways. Say if I'm walking out on a leash, I may use the leash to guide the dog in a certain way to establish the structure, to guide the dog so it understands what to do and what not to do. But let's say if I'm like for instance, I have a video where I was teaching Goose to not run in the door right when we got home because she got a little messy and needed to wipe her down, right? So all I do is once I open that door, I just block the dog and then you kind of move towards them so it sends them away. And then when I go in the home, every time Goose would try to advance back to the door, I would just turn around and walk and then let her know, hey, just, you give a hand signal or you just, through spatial pressure, you would send that message to them that way and they would keep them in place. And then you just repeat that till the dog understands, okay, you don't want me to move forward towards the door, right? Now, if, say, the dog is like demanding something, yeah, exactly. Right, Trigger. It's a combination of eye contact, body language, tone of voice, positioning, all those things. But like, say if a dog is demanding something from you, the dog's being demanding. Like, say a dog's trying to jump on me when I'm on the couch. I'm just going to gently push them off the couch. And then from there, I'm just going to block them with my arm or whatever from getting on the couch. So now I'm claiming the couch. I'm saying this space is mine. And I don't want you up here. And then eventually the dog understands, okay, I can't get on the couch. And then when the dog respects that, usually dogs will just go lay down and kind of mind their own business. And when the dog shows you it's respecting the boundary you've established, okay, now you can invite them on the couch if you want. Right, yeah, and I was saying earlier, James, and I guess I was muted, but I find it hilarious that, because Zach George made a post yesterday where he was talking about, he always goes on these tirades about aversive tools and, whatever. So I commented and said, or no, this was this morning actually. I commented and said, but Zach, didn't you attempt to shut down Dog Daddy's behavior? Or you tried to shut down Dog Daddy by mobilizing your audience to call businesses that were going to host him, and you threatened to leave them 1-star reviews if they actually followed through with the event they planned with Dog Daddy. I said, how are you not using, quote, aversive methods to control and manipulate these people's behavior? And it was amazing how fast people in the comments were like, yeah, good point. It's like, yeah, because it's complete hypocrisy. I don't understand how it's okay, or you don't ever do it with the dog, but oh yeah, people, fuck them. Yeah, we'll do that all day long. And the amount of hate that I got for the previous comment when I just said, okay, now do it with no treats, the amount of insults and hatred, it's amazing to me. It's like you're all positive people, but yet you like being called a clown and saying you're a moron, and I was like, really? God damn, people. Do you hate yourself that much that you have to, like, God? Or I was saying earlier, I think I was muted too. I was giving the example of, because one other thing that when people rely on treats, it can actually make problems worse. Like Grizzy, Grizzy's probably one of the most frequent client dogs I have on my channel because, he just stays with me when his owners go out of town. Right, right, triggered. But Grizzy was a good example. Grizzy's owners, before, when he was 3 months old, before they hired me, they hired an all positive treat-based person to come. This guy charged him $450, and they texted me the next day and basically said, yeah, this isn't working. It's made Grizzy worse. Because now when we run out of treats, he goes like apeshit, and he was like attacking them even harder. So I gave it was an example where I'm like, yeah, this all positive idea, like you can take a dog that already has issues and you can make it worse if you go the treat training, Grizzy's a chocolate lab. I have many videos from when I started working with Grizzy. I did a live stream. If you go to my live stream section, there are live streams I have where I took Grizzy off leash. His owners have been, he's pretty much an adult now. His owners have been experimenting with him off leash because he's earned that freedom. He's matured. He's doing very, very well. And so when he comes to stay with me, I'd ask, like, hey, do you mind if I take him off leash? So I have live streams with him off leash, him and Goose off leash together. Um, but he, when they go out of town, he just stays with me. Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine starting there with but see that triggered. That's why you'll never see these people do it. They don't work with aggressive dogs. The shit does not work with aggressive dogs. You can't start there when the problem is that severe. It's not going to work. But I was talking earlier when I was muted, where if anybody's seen the SeaWorld documentary, right? You're talking about, as far as positive reinforcement is concerned, you're talking about the highest level of positive reinforcement training with these orcas at SeaWorld. And so during the show, everything looks great right now, although some trainers have been killed during the show too. But usually the shows look great, everybody has fun, it looks perfect. But then behind the scenes, what's happening? Trainers are getting killed. The orcas are killing each other because there are serious issues behind it. So it's like, but wait a minute, you're using exclusively positive reinforcement on these orcas. Well, why do they have so many fucking problems? And that's like the highest level of it. Um, Makes you wonder, right? But if you want the highest level of what can be achieved in the relationship between you and a dog, strip everything away. No treats, no toys, nothing. Make it about the interaction between you and the dog. Yeah, it's a terrible fucking industry, for sure. It's awful. And then, of course, you compound that with, like, these orcas live the whole life of captivity. And it's like, I'm not really a fan of zoos either. I hate going to, you see, like, tigers and lions in a zoo in this little enclosed. They just look so depressed. That's no place for a goddamn lion. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion. But, or polar bears or whatever. I just kind of feel bad for them. See, I'm trying to remember what else I did, because I guess we had no audio earlier, so I'm trying to think what else I had said. Like Goose, any of my dogs. If you watch the live streams I've done with them, I don't really say anything to Goose. She just follows me around. If I have to stop her, I might snap my finger to say hey, and she stops. That's all the communication there needs to be. I didn't need to teach her with treats and blah blah blah. I never need to do any of that shit. But the challenge I would issue to anybody watching is, if you have gotten into the habit of using treats for your dog, remove the treats for a while. See if your dog still listens. And if it doesn't, that reveals the true nature of how that dog actually sees you. The dog is just performing to get what it wants. But see, this is why I when I was arguing with people about it, I made the statement. I said, listen, anybody can get a dog to perform something for it because the dog wants the food. I said, so a 6-year-old could fucking do it. Anybody can do it. It's not hard. But getting a dog to do something out of respect for you, that's a totally different matter. It's definitely more convenient, for sure, Triggered. I was telling the story earlier, I think I was muted, where I had a client. It's a big golden retriever named Otis. It's a great session. But they were telling me they would drop him off at like one of those day centers, or like one of those day training things where they drop him off and they pick him up at the end of the day and the people work with him. Well, he was coming home and throwing up these huge piles of treats because they were just constantly giving the dog treats. So even on a health level, like, how is this good? How is that? Sometimes dogs get fat because it's just treats all the fucking time. Yeah, and sometimes that's the case. Triggered when you get a good bounce dog right off the bat, and the dog just wants to please you, and that's when those dogs are really easy, because you could just, rather than using treats, just give them praise, affection. But one thing I had said earlier too is in the animal world, like in the canine world, you're never going to see a dog trying to get another dog to do what it wants by throwing food at it. You're never going to see a dog training another dog with food. You're never going to, the animal kingdom does not work this way, right? Dogs will communicate to each other what they don't like, and then everything else in between is acceptable. So that communication is very clear and concise. It's easy for the dog to understand. Hey, everything's good, and when I do this though, this dog, the more dominant dog usually comes in and addresses me. So I know that, okay, I shouldn't do that. I don't want to challenge this dog. But then everything in between that, if there's no problems, well, okay, everything's good. It's very simple communication. There is no positive, like this is all human shit, right? And we just kind of force it onto animals and dogs, and we think it's animal behavior. Well, learning theory. I don't give a fuck about learning theory. Whatever. It's great. Hey, teaching skills, have at it. But behavioral problems. One thing I said at the end before James had told me I was muted. The analogy I like to use is say like if you're a man, you going on a date with a woman, and let's say you're kind of desperate for this woman to like you or validate you or whatever. Maybe you'll bring her flowers. Maybe you'll take her on some fancy fucking expensive dinner. You're putting all this shit in between you and the woman in hopes that maybe she'll like you more. Well, you're never going to get respect that way, right? Especially you don't know this person, but it's almost like you're trying to bribe this person to like you. Like, oh, I did this for you. Look what I can do for you. It's the same idea. And then, of course, you don't even know if that woman's really there for you or just because she wants the free dinner and whatever. You know what I mean? It's the same idea. So when you're building that relationship with your dog, you just make it about you and the dog. Don't put anything in between it. It would be the same principles really apply. Any human relationship, friend, child. If your child was back talking you, you wouldn't say, well, okay, to get the kid to shut up and stop back talking me. All right, kid, I'll give you $5 if you just do what I need you to do. Stop being so difficult. Well, you're making the problem worse, and you're not actually addressing the issue. Right now, you're bribing the kid to doing what you want, and the kid's still going to be disrespectful towards you next time. Yeah, take it for exactly. But see, here's the thing, Triggered. Like if a woman shows up with you for a hike, she's down for you. It's like, those are the best ones. It should just be easy and simple. But again, that's a very man to woman thing. It's a very a hike is just a very simple. It's like man and woman interaction. There's nothing in between. It's good stuff. But if anyone, right, anyone has any questions, let me know. Appreciate everybody showing up. I'm sorry about it. There's no audio earlier. My apologies. So I guess anyone that watches, if you just want to watch me and Goose walking around with no audio for like 40 minutes, you're more than welcome to rewind it. But which sucks because there were a lot of people showing up earlier, and if I was fucking muted, then it kind of defeated the purpose. Oh well, it is what it is. Right? No, triggered. It's funny. Anyway, I think. I mean, I know I said a lot more. I may do this stream over again. I'll have to collect my thoughts and I might redo this one. This topic anyway. But appreciate everybody showing up. Anybody has any questions, let me know. I'm gonna end the stream here in a minute. I gotta feed Goose. And there's a video I'd like to do today, so let me get that shit done. But appreciate everybody liking the video. Thank you. It means a lot. But oh, that was one other thing too. Whereas on a certain level, I find it, the fact that these people are so hell bent on using treats. To me, it's almost like you're not really truly respecting the animal. You know what I mean? Like, do you really think that little of a dog that you have to just wave food in front of its face to? You know what I mean? Or every time the dog does something, like, gotta give it a piece of, this dumb animal. I gotta. I don't know. To me, it's not a real connection. You know what I mean? You're not building a real connection there. But then once you do build that relationship the right way, you can do whatever you want. Like, I share my food with Goose all the time. So I don't withhold things from her, but there's no problems. And it doesn't cause problems, right? No, and you're right, Triggered. No, like the average person, yeah, for sure. But I am speaking more so like about the Zach George types, or the cult followers he has, But like when people hire me and that's the route they've gone, like I don't shame them for it. I don't, that's the commonly given advice. So like I don't blame anybody for doing it, because it's just what's out there, And of course it's in the mainstream, so it's the majority of what people see. Right, exactly. Which is why I have a job. Yeah, you're not building anything. Yeah. But and to people's defense, Sugar, too, it's like a lot of people just don't know what to do. And so when I show up to their home and I just show them what to do, it all clicks, and they're like, "Oh, fuck, okay, we get it." But that's also why every client that I have, I also provide written instructions for them too. It's like a protocol that gives them the strategy, that whatever we went over, whatever we found that works, so that way they can implement it every day. Yeah, he did. He brought a lot to the table. He definitely threw the force free. He broke their brains. I love it with the video Joel Beckman did. He broke their fucking brains. They couldn't, and dominance. They couldn't understand it. The only thing about Caesar, Caesar's just so good at what he does, and he's so particular about like the techniques he implements, that I think it's difficult for the average person to do, like the little things, like the foot taps, or just the way he uses the leash. I mean, those are hard things for the average person to do. So some of it doesn't translate well to the average person, but like the majority of his message, I think he makes it simple enough for people to understand. Right. Exactly. Exactly, James. Best at doing is always good. You're totally right. Absolutely right. And I think Caesar would be a good example of that. He's excellent at, like, there's no one like him when it comes to the doing. And maybe some of that's a language barrier too. I don't know. But then again, I've never really heard him like try to teach people to do like the foot taps, or he's just more so telling people like being more assertive, be calm. It's the energy you put forth, or I don't know. It's and sometimes it just depends on the person too. Like I make it as simple and easy for my clients to understand. And sometimes even, because there are a lot of little details, sometimes it's hard to put all those little details together. I get it. I've been doing it for 16 years, so it comes natural to me. So there is a learning curve to it. Definitely, yeah. And even the watch, like when I first started watching Caesar, it's one thing to watch, but then when you apply it, there's a lot of trial and error because you're trying to figure out, look, like, how do you do that? And then when you go to do it, it doesn't quite work out. One thing I really love that he does that I picked up from is the way he just kind of touches dogs with his fingers, especially like in the part of their, like right in front of their hind legs, where you tap that area of the dog and it just gets them to kind of snap out of it or respond. There's even a little art to that, you know, touching the dog the right way. That it can take some practice. But that's one of my favorite things to do. You really get dogs to pay attention when you do little things like that. Definitely, I think overall, though, Caesar had a profound impact. I don't think there would be as many people interested in the dog world without Caesar. Caesar's like the Conor McGregor of the dog world. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, Sugar. Yeah, and that's really what it's meant to do. The way dogs kind of touch each other with their mouths, it's you. Yeah, you're mimicking the same thing. I agree. I agree. I've had clients tell me that, call me that too. I'm like, no, 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 don't. I don't. Yeah, don't. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's all good. But yeah, I learned a lot from Caesar. Um, I still watch episodes of his every now and then. It's good stuff. But excellent. Well, guys, if there's not anything else you want to discuss or have any questions, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna go feed the little one. I will be doing a video today. It's an interesting one. A little clip I found. I think you guys will enjoy it. But I'm still gonna post the stream. Hope I'm gonna um, even though the audio, I'll probably just put a little clip like no audio till whatever. But I may just redo the stream again. You know, it's a good topic. So maybe we'll do it tomorrow again. All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. It's beautiful Tuesday here. So wherever you're at, hope y'all are having a great day. Hope y'all have a great day. And we shall see you soon. Appreciate everybody joining.